Hello and welcome to our channel Forensic Science Public Desk India. And this topic, estimation of time since death, is 10th lecture of Forensic Medicine UGC NET Forensic Science. Here we are going to learn about time since death. So this is also known as postmortem interval. Is the time that has elapsed since a person has died. That is, it is the time interval between death and the examination of the body. So we have approached the body and we don't know when the person has died. We are going to identify that based on various postmortem changes, as like we have discussed in the previous video. So in the previous video only we have covered most of the time since death points, but here I am going to elaborate few more important points relevant with the time since death without wasting your important time. So thanatochemistry is one of the term which we have to understand, where the techniques used to determine time since death by chemical means will be studied. So now we are going to focus on thanatochemistry, where we are going to learn about the metabolic activities, biochemistry which is occurring inside the body after the death, and which will be helpful for us to identify the time since the death. So let's have a quick glance over the objectives. We are aiming to know when crime was committed or when the body is dead. It gives the police a starting point for their inquiries and allows them to deal with the information available more efficiently. It might be able to exclude some suspects and to confirm or disprove an alibi, so if you are having time and somebody is not present in the city itself at that particular time, then you can disprove the alibi, and if he is there you can confirm the alibi, like that. To check the suspect statements whether they are true or not, you will be, while you are doing the investigation or interrogation part, you will be writing all the statements which are given along with the times which are given by the witnesses or the suspects, and that will be cross checked with the time since death records which are given by the forensic medicine expert. Physical changes useful for estimation of time since death. So what are the various things which we consider? Corporal evidence, that means which the evidence is present inside the body, which we have just learnt in the previous video, and environmental and associated evidence which are present vicinity of the body, around the body, either it can be the botanical evidences or it can be any other insect evidences, etc., which will be helping us to identify the time since death, and animistic evidences based on deceased ordinary habits, movements and day-to-day activities. So these are general points which should be considered for time since death. So what are various other changes which will be helping us to determine time since death? First is changes in eye. So can we consider the changes in eye to be more accurate for time since death? It is not always. So if you are very sure that the death happened and the person's eyes were open since the death, then you may rely. So after 3 hours to 4 hours, you can see particular tachynuria. So depending on the appearance of the eye, you can see that, or opacity of the cornea you can consider, or retinal damage you can consider, tension of the eye socket is lost, that also you can consider. This particular changes will be occurring up to 12 hours, and rigor mortis of eyelids will be set in the first 4 to 5 hours. So these particular changes can be considered from the eye, and algor mortis you can estimate the time up to 16 to 20 hours. So the most useful single indicator of postmortem interval during the first 24 hours after the death is the algor mortis. The body will attain environmental temperature in this particular time, 16 to 20 hours. And coming to postmortem staining, the extent of appearance, fixation gives some idea about time which has passed after the death. Malted patches. So I have said you already, the small patches will start in 1 to 3 hours, and this patches will increase its size in 4 to 6 hours, and this will be fixed. The postmortem staining will be fixed on the body between 16 to 20 hours and actually at 8 to 12 hours. Then rigor mortis can be seen, where appearance, distribution or its passing away are most important physical changes which are taken into account for estimation of time since death. So generally it will start in 1 to 2 hours after the death and takes about 9 to 12 hours to develop from head to foot, persists for another 12 hours and gradually passes off and goes to putrefaction. So in some conditions it may also be seen till 2 to 3 days. So the temperate countries rigor mortis begins in 3 to 4 hours, become fully established in 8 to 12 hours and remains unchanged up to 36 hours, or sometimes it may disappear after 2 to 3 days. So this is not a temperate country. India is a tropical country where this particular rigor mortis will disappear after 12 hours most probably. Okay. Then putrefaction, you can see among delayed changes after death, this change is single best one to purpose of estimation of time since death. In India, greenish discoloration of abdomen over the particular pelvis can be seen in about 12 to 24 hours, as like we have seen in the previous video. The changes of discoloration will be seen in right pelvis region, and this will be onset on 12 to 24 hours and spreads over the body in 24 hours, and in 36 to 48 hours you can see the marbling. That means particular veins will be visible easily in a bluish green color or red color, and particular whatever it is their intestines or internal organs, they will also get putrefied in 48 hours, and the rectum, uterus, eyes, tongues, all these particular organs will be coming outside the body in 48 to 72 hours. Then insect activities can also be observed initial stages right from the beginning, right from first hour of the death. You can see insects are coming and laying the eggs. So that is not clearly visible. That's why we consider insects activities are more prominent in putrefaction stage, initial 18 to 36 hours, and maggots to pupae, that means larval stage will be completely in 18 to 36th hour, where we will be only able to see the larvae, and larvae will develop into maggots. Maggots will go and convert into pupae, and this particular process will be seen up to 4 to 5 days. So after 4 to 5 days there will be no more any flesh or anything edible for the insects. Then if it is coming to stomach and intestine contents, so stomach, if it is having diet rich carbohydrates, they will leave the stomach very easily. Protein meal will leave the stomach easily. Milk will leave the stomach easily, and the food which are very living in a longer time in our stomach are the fatty food, or something which is like last meal is a meat or something which is very heavy, or this particular things will be there in the stomach and intestines for the longer time. And contents of urinary bladder, the amount of urine in the bladder may give some indication actually. So the person if dead and if his urinary bladder is full of urine, then at the time you can imagine urinary bladder is most preserved, okay, till the last putrefaction stage also it will be there like intact. And if you are seeing urine in that, you can say that the person did not go for urine when he is died. That means it is early in the morning, because only early in the morning the urinary bladder will be full of urine. So after the death it may not be possible to see no urine. And bone marrow changes can also be observed when within 1 hour of the death nuclei of neutrophils in marrow starts swelling, and by 4 to 5 hours the nuclei becomes round. By 10 to 12 hours the outline of the neutrophils is lost. Then we can see biochemical changes also. Cerebral spinal fluid will be there, where cisternal fluid is examined. Lactic acid or non-protein nitrogen and amino acid content increase in first 15 hours after the death, but the rate is not confirmed. Potassium, ammonia, creatine, uric acid increase, and glucose values will decrease after the death. So when you are seeing the blood, potassium and magnesium levels will increase, whereas sodium and chloride fall after the death. Lactic acid, creatine, and non-protein nitrogens, and you can see amino acids, nitrogen containing increases after the death. By 12 hours of the death, the level of amino acid nitrogen is about 10 mg percent. Non-protein nitrogen is about 40 mg. So like that, creatine you can see 10 mg. So these measurements can be done and you can estimate the time since death. Little complicated, but it is practiced. So then we can see vitreous humor. Steady rise in vitreous humor, potassium values occur up to 100 hours after the death. So till 100 hours you are having the time, and gradually this particular concentration will be increasing. There is a formula for that. So these formulas are called as Mandia's formula, Turner's formula, Sterner's formula. Okay, so these formulas will be used and we will be estimating the percentage of potassium which is present in the vitreous humor. And other good evidence also you can consider, that is facial hair growth. Rate of growth of hair after shaving will be 0.4 mm per day, 0.4 mm per day. So if the body, if the person is disappeared and he's been dead, he is found dead, and if you are seeing his hair growth up to 0.4 or more than that, then you can say he is missing, and after 3 days of his missing he is dead, because 0.4 multiplied by number of days, it will be giving us the time, how much time he was alive and when he was expired. So that particular things can be understood. Then we have to certainly consider circumstantial evidences as well. Degree of coagulation of milk, stainless of food, and the dressing, whatever it is wore, and what is the environmental factors, and if there is any wristwatch or belt or anything, all these things will also be considered, where these things will be present on body and contributing some kind of factors onto the postmortem changes. Recent advancements for estimating time since death. So here we can study about recent advancements related to time since death of biochemistry. After death, internal nucleuses within the cells cause DNA to degrade into smaller fragments over the time. If these fragments can be isolated and visualized, and if the fragmentation is proved to be measurable and quantifiable, it can be a good indicator of PMI. So that particular technique is used in first 3 points. It has been discussed that degree of DNA degradation reflects the length of time since death. So first one, if you see flow cytometry. In flow cytometry, one correlates the degree of DNA degradation in tissue from deceased with tissue from another individuals. Both will be compared. So another individual, obviously like should be compared with like, thus that principle will be used and we will be measuring the degradation. And other technique, single cell gel electrophoresis, are also called as Comet assay. Method is used to detect the relationship between amount of degraded DNA and PMI in different tissues. It has been found that there is a linear relationship between degradation rate of nuclear DNA and PMI in brain and liver. So if you are taking these two samples and comparing the level of degradation in between these two, you will be able to identify the exact or approximate time since death. And fluorescence tissue spectroscopy is also used, using a time dependent variations on fluorescence spectrum and its correlation with time elapsed after regular metabolic activity sessions has been investigated. Simply, if you understand, freeze the body, reactivate it, and whatever the proteins, whatever the tissues which are there, those will be exhibiting certain kind of fluorescence, and this increase or the increase the intensity of the fluorescence of this particular tissues or cellular components will be tested, and its measurement will be done so that we can estimate the rate of decomposition, not time since death. So rate of decomposition will also ultimately give us time since death. Then other topics like cell death proteins. So mRNA expression of proteins, some mRNA expressions are there. In chromosome 10 you can see mRNA which is exhibiting Fas ligand, or also phosphatase tensin homologue. These two proteins expressions whatever are there, these are time dependent increases as death occurs. So how much this particular expression is done by mRNA in eukaryotic cells can be done, and we can estimate the time since death. Degradation of cardiac troponin. So this is also one kind of a protein, basic regulatory protein found in our ternary complex responsible for calcium dependent muscle contraction. Where this occurs, calcium dependent muscle contraction will occur in the myocardium of heart, and this can also identify, this can also give us the estimation of time since death up to 5 days. So the analysis involves extraction of the protein, separation by denaturating, conducting the gel electrophoresis SDS page, and visualizing by Western blot using this particular cardiac troponin 1 monoclonal antibodies. Okay, then high mobility group box 1 protein. So this protein is a non-histone DNA binding protein it is released by eukaryotic cells upon necrosis. So its detection in serum by ELISA, enzyme linked immunoabsorbent assay, may be related to PMI. The preliminary results indicate the time dependent increase in levels of this particular protein after the death. So these are the recent advancements, may be little complicated but yet little easy also. So note these points, you can search in Google or you can search some research papers as well and you can learn. So for making more knowledge for you all, we have made this video again, even though we have already discussed this particular time since death topic in postmortem changes. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you and you have understood the concepts related to this particular topic, time since death.